Welcome to LinkedIn Comments. Today we're going to do something a little different. We came across a very interesting post on LinkedIn from Adrian Hornsby and reposed by Jade Rubin.
Oh, Jade, yes. He always finds such interesting topics.
Absolutely. And this post really zeroed in on some common myths about organizational resilience. You know, those ideas that kind of sound right, but actually, well, they trip us up.
They really do. Sneaky little
thing. They give it like trying to shake the myths off the scratching post, right? Get rid of the flaky bits. So our plan today is to unpack a couple of the big ones.
Good plan. Because, so many places optimize purely for, let's say, short-term efficiency.
Yeah.
And that just builds in this hidden fragility. If you're not actually investing in resilience, you're sort of betting everything on things staying stable forever.
Right.
Which, spoiler alert,
they don't. Okay, so let's jump into the first one Adrian listed. This belief that we can measure resilience with simple metrics. Things like tracking incident counts, MTTR, MTTD, that sort of thing. Now, those numbers tell us something, surely. Why is focusing just on them a trap?
Well, it's fascinating because resilience isn't really a fixed state. The sources we looked at define it as a dynamic process. Exactly. And because it's dynamic, trying to put a single number on it before a crisis hits, what they call ekvanti, it's fundamentally flawed, really.
So you can't measure it properly beforehand.
Not with those simple metrics, no. They mostly capture what happened after something broke. They don't capture the capacity to adapt, to bend without breaking.
Right. So focusing too much on those simple linear metrics, like another myth mentioned, no alerts means no problems.
Yeah,
that actually makes us more fragile in the long run.
Precisely. Because resilience, it actually covers 5 big dimensions.
And how are they?
Strategic, financial, operational, technological, and organizational. So if you only track, say, liquidity, a financial metric, you completely miss other huge risks. Like, what if your entire supply chain depends on one single supplier? That's massive operational fragility, but it might not show up in your MTTR.
Okay, gotcha. So even big indexes, like the Bain Resilience Index mentioned, are only giving a partial picture.
Exactly. It's just much, much more complex than a simple red or green light on a dashboard.
That makes sense. And that kind of fragility, that systemic view, must lead right into the next myth, doesn't it? The one about people.
Yes. The human element.
The idea that psychological safety is nice to have, but not mandatory. That just sounds dangerous.
It is. And it connects to what some sources call the toxic myth of resilience.
Toxic myth. How so?
Well, sometimes when organizations don't provide that safety, they sort of palm off the responsibility. They use the idea of resilience to blame individuals when the system fails.
Oh, wow. So it becomes, you weren't resilient enough, not our system put you in an impossible position.
Exactly. It shifts accountability away from the organization. It frames systemic issues as like an employee's personal failing. They weren't tough or couldn't handle it.
So, yeah, that's the opposite of good management. You need people to work together, especially under pressure.
You absolutely do. To build collective resilience, that we-ness, you need a culture where people actually feel safe speaking of, raising concerns, pointing out weird stuff before it breaks.
So things like burnout or low motivation, yeah. You can't just send someone on a wellness course and fix it.
Not as the underlying system is the problem. Critical thinking tells us that employee well-being isn't just some fluffy nice to have. It's absolutely key to productivity, to success, especially in complex systems.
Because you need that human judgment to spot the unexpected things.
Precisely. The unknown unknowns. And people only use that judgment, take that initiative, if they feel safe doing so. Trying to automate everything away or enforce rigid processes to hit 0 incidents, another myth, by the way, just ignores the humans who actually make the system work.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up for the listener. Resilience. It's not a number you hit. It's not just about being efficient right now.
No, it's really a continuous investment in your people, in your planning, in understanding your whole system.
And it's not about stopping bad things from happening entirely, is it? Because that's impossible.
Right. It's more about making a strategic choice. A choice to hedge against the really catastrophic risks, like going bankrupt or total system failure, even if building those hedges, those safety nets, makes you slightly less efficient day to day.
How much data on this?
Oh, yeah. High resilience firms, they have almost double the survival rate over the long haul. They weather the storms better.
Okay, so here's something to really chew on then. If those high-risk firms, the ones maybe not investing so much in resilience, tend to do marginally better in the good years, the expansionary times.
Sometimes.
But they have significantly higher rates of complete failure, of bankruptcy. How do you, listening right now, define your organization's real appetite for risk, especially when reward systems so often focus on that short-term gain, not the long-term survival?
That's the critical question, isn't it? What game are you actually playing?
Definitely something to think about. Well, thank you to Jade Rubik and Adrian Hornsby for sharing such insightful material on LinkedIn. It really got us
thinking. Absolutely great stuff.
And thank you, our listener, for tuning in.